I have apparently already given up on looking good for my YouTube videos because I am definitely in my pajamas. Not feeling very well lately. I feel like I've been sick every month for like the last 6 months. Super annoying. But I did want to make a little video. Alright, so obviously this is gonna be really chill. Maybe it'll be quick, but I wanted to talk about the permit system for the Pacific Crest Trail because I find getting a permit very stressful and terrifying for some reason. I'm like, there's a lottery system, might as well not even try, which is not the right attitude to have because it's really not that difficult. And I don't know why I'm so negative when it comes to that kind of thing. So just don't even listen to me. But when I was deciding, okay, I'm gonna do the Pacific Crest Trail, so I need to figure out how to get a permit, I found it very confusing and terrifying. Also, I could not find a whole lot of information or current information because they decided to overhaul the whole lottery system for 2023. So I'm going to attempt to help you out. Hopefully it doesn't change much from here because I actually personally thought that the changes they made were fantastic. So as I said, the PCTA did the permit process quite differently this year. From what I can tell in years past, you would log on to the PCTA website on the permit day and they would randomly assign you a place in line. And it would be like, oh, you're 255,000th in line, estimated 8-hour wait time. Like I said, I'm not totally sure how it worked, but from a few videos that I've seen, this is how it kind of looked. It also seemed like if they were placed in that unrealistic number or wait time, that a lot of people still got a permit, which I find pretty interesting. But for this year, the PCTA said no more of that. By the way, the PCTA is the Pacific Crest Trail Association, and they're the ones that give out permits for the whole PCT. So this year they made it so that you had to pre-register to be able to even get a spot in line for a permit. So from October 12th to November 1st, anyone could register to be able to get a spot on permit day. Does that make sense? So if I have learned one thing about the PCTA is that time is just a concept to them, besides the actual permit time slot that they give you, which is literally down to the second, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. So even though they said it would not affect what spot in line you get on the actual permit day, you better believe that on the day that you were able to register, I was there on time, ready to go, ready to register. And I actually can't remember what time it was. I think it was 10:30. All I know is I had an orthodontist appointment at the exact same time that you were able to register. So I was low-key panicking. So 10:30 rolls around and there was no change. You couldn't register still. It was 10:40 and I'm sitting in the orthodontist waiting room on my phone and I'm like, can I please register? And there is no way to register still. I'm like double checking the date. I'm looking on Reddit threads, like what's happening? Then maybe a few minutes later it did come on. They asked for my phone number and they sent a code to my phone and then I put that in to go to the next step. And then they asked for my email and they were gonna send an email to my email with another code. By this time I'm like being taken to the back at my orthodontist and I'm like typing as I go. And I keep checking my email. Every time the orthodontist would step away, I like check my email looking for this code and it never comes. 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, nothing. I leave the orthodontist, it's still not there. And at this point I'm like in tears from the stress of, I'm like, maybe they just don't want me to hike the PCT. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to call them. I'm like, can you please just send me this email? So I go back to the beginning of their registration page for the website and they have like in big red letters, anyone with at yahoo.com were experiencing trouble sending the email. So I changed to my Gmail and I got it immediately, which was great. I'm only riddled with anxiety. So once your account is confirmed via email and phone, they will ask you for very basic information like your name, your address. I think they ask for your birthday too. And then nothing. except that you are now registered for the privilege of being able to apply for a permit on permit day, which was not until November 15th, so it was like a month later. So lots of waiting. And if you don't apply by November 1st, then you don't get to apply for a permit on this round. And then once you are registered for the permit, you can access your portal where you can do a couple of things. They will give you 3 videos that you can watch. I think they're about permit terms and a lot about leave no trace. And the most awesome thing that they added was that you can link yourself to a partner, which was an amazing change that they made this year. From what I understand, in past years, if you were hiking with like your spouse or a friend, you would just have to hope that you got the same day for your permit. And I think a lot of the time it didn't work out, and obviously makes it quite stressful and difficult to plan logistics. So now you have the ability to link yourself to a partner. So when you register on permit day, only one person can get in line for the permit. No, you both cannot try to get in line for the permit. It will only send time to one of you. And you also have to link yourself before permit day. Also, I should mention that the PCTA does 2 waves of permit releases. The first one was on November 15th, and they released 35 per day. And then they will release 15 permits on January 10th for a total of 50 permits per day. And that is from March 1st to May 31st. So I can't remember exactly when, but I feel like it was just a few days before the November 15th release that we got an email from the PCTA saying that they were going to email us a specific time slot that would be like our appointment for registration, which was pretty cool. That way we know exactly when we can log on and apply for a permit. So the day before the permit release comes around, it's November 14th. And they had said in that email, I'm pretty sure they had said that they were going to give us our time slots around noon. So it comes around and there's nothing there, of course. But by now I'm an experienced permit chaser, so I don't panic. This is just how they roll. I logged into my portal maybe 15 minutes later and the email was there. See? No worries. So the time slots are from 10:30 to 3. And I logged in to see that my appointment time was 2:27:33. I was disappointed for sure, but I really didn't know what to think because they've never done this before, and neither have I. So the whole day I was going crazy, just thinking back and forth, okay, yeah, I think I have a good chance of getting a permit, and then being like, there's no way I'm gonna get a permit. It was really fun. So finally, the day is here, November 15th, 10:30, and awesome. People that were lucky enough to get a super early time slot are obviously getting their first choice of permit. You start seeing all the people on social media celebrating that they got a great permit date, and it's really exciting. But if you're anything like me, you're also very anxious. There's also this really cool thing called permit availability. So you can log on to the PCTA website and look at the availability from Mexico border, and they will all say 0. So if you have a very late permit time slot, like I did, you get to keep refreshing this and just watch the permits fill up before your very eyes. It's not stressful or nerve-wracking at all. It was kind of weird because it seemed like by noon there was still a lot of availability left. So I was like, oh, I'm for sure gonna get one. And then by 1 o'clock, they were suddenly just like flying off the shelves. By 2, I was like in panic mode, like I don't think I'm gonna get one. April availability was long gone. If you don't know, April is probably the most popular month to go. There was still some availability in early March and late May. So the PCTA doesn't care about super specific time when it comes to sending emails to us and things like that. But when it comes to your appointment time slot, it is literally down to the second, and you cannot try before the second of your time slot. So when I had last looked at the calendar, there was 4 spots available left in May, and I think there was a couple in March too. My heart was pounding, I was shaking. I always say that I do well under pressure, but that's just something that I say in an interview or put on my resume to make myself look good. It's probably not true. But I was able to snag a permit. When I refreshed after I finished the permit process, they had definitely all been gone. And I learned from social media that people who had time slots like seconds after me did not get a permit. I truly think I was like one of the last people to get a permit. So when you're getting a permit, it looks like this. There is the calendar, you pick the date. So you will see the calendar and there will be the days that are available. It'll say like 48 or 49 in yellow instead of a red 50. So you choose the day, your starting location, and your end location. And then it will say it's in review. It won't say it's approved yet. It'll say that it'll take like 5 weeks for them to review it and approve it. I have never heard of anyone getting denied. I'm not really sure what they're approving, but it did take quite a few weeks for mine to say approved. So if you were unlucky enough to get a bad time appointment, you get another try in the January 10th round. If you are already registered, you do not have to register again, even if you already got the permit date that you want. They will send you another email saying that you have a time appointment on January 10th and this is your time slot. So if you want to change it, that's when you would change it. If you don't want to change it, simply ignore, do nothing. And I believe there's also another opportunity to register to apply again. If you were very unlucky and you get another late time appointment for the January 10th release and you end up not getting a permit again, you do have a couple of options. Option A, you can camp out by the availability calendar and hope someone cancels and keep refreshing and see if you can snag a cancellation. There typically aren't very many cancellations until after the January 10th release date. Even though I had a permit date that I liked, I still was looking at the calendar and there was maybe like 1 or 2 cancellations before the January 10th release date, but after that, there was like multiple cancellations a day. And option B is, sorry, that's my cat. Option B is local permits. So contrary to popular belief, you do not have to have a PCTA permit for hiking the entire PCT. Essentially, all the PCTA permit does is take the stress off of you from getting local permits. I personally don't feel comfortable enough explaining how local permits work because I've just barely looked into it, but I am going to link a few videos and resources that can definitely help you out on that. Basically, if you really want to do this and you didn't get a permit from the PCTA, I wouldn't let it hold you back. There's definitely ways to do it with local permits. Although I am pretty happy with my permit date, it is a little bit later than I would like, switching my date if I can grab a cancellation. So at first, I was using a Google Chrome extension that auto-refreshed the page, and I put in like a specific number. I think I put like 48 and 49, and it would like alarm and tell me when there was a 48 or 49 available, which means there was a permit available. And I would check it, and I was actually able to get a much better permit start date that I wanted this way. However, the PCTA apparently is not okay with this, and now if you have that extension installed, they will block you for the entire day from using their website, which I don't really understand why they did that. I mean, like, if you really want a permit, you're still going to be sitting there refreshing it, so I don't really get it. It might have been just how often I was refreshing, like every 30 seconds, so maybe if you did it less than that, they wouldn't block you, but I'm not really sure. But typically they will post the cancellations in the afternoon, but that's not always true. I've seen them posted at 9:30. I've seen them posted at like 3:50. They will post whenever they want. Also, they usually only post once a day, but I have seen it to where they will post multiple times a day. So there's really no rhyme or reason to it. You just have to keep checking. Also, just know that the permits disappear within minutes, so you have to be very quick. But I will say I am shocked at how many cancellations there has been so far, like multiple a day. And that's the gist of it. Not too bad. quite anxiety inducing, but I think it's pretty straightforward. If you are lucky enough to get a permit, that's awesome. And if you aren't, then you have options. And remember, it's always far less popular to go southbound than it is northbound, so you also have that option. Thank you for watching.